person-centric, choosing the right words, avoiding bias, and creating posts that resonate without shaming. Now, this part is gold, especially if you want your platform to be a safe and empowering space. Ladies and gentlemen, let's call on stage Dr. MC Del Mundo. The floor is yours.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Afternoon.
Okay, so let's discuss for this afternoon the weight of words, which focuses on responsible storytelling in stigma-free messaging on obesity. We have some learning outcomes, so this is more like a workshop. First is to identify and avoid common forms of weight bias and shame in visual and narrative storytelling. Instead, we use strategies that foster empathy, dignity, and health-centered messaging. We need to recognize and apply person-first, non-stigmatizing language. Later, we'll be giving examples when addressing obesity and social media context. And lastly, how to design content formats such as reels, infographics, carousels that resonate with diverse audiences while accurately representing the complex and multifactorial nature of obesity. Why does this discussion matter? So what is the point of all of this? So again, obesity is a rapidly escalating global health concern. Based on the Triple Game, 1.2 billion people are now affected. The WHO classifies it as one of the most visible and yet neglected public health problems, which contributes greatly to the morbidity and mortality worldwide. How are we doing in the Philippines? Approximately 27 million individuals are classified as overweight or obese according to the DOST through the Nutrition Research Institute. And according to the 2021 Expanded National Nutrition Survey conducted by DOST FNRI, it showed that the adult population shows the highest prevalence rate. So over 4 in 10 Filipino adults are affected. So this is deeply concerning because it also signals a growing epidemic of non-communicable diseases like heart disease, strokes, diabetes, and certain cancers. Now we go to obesity and mental health. The incidence of depression and anxiety rises with the severity of metabolic problems linked to obesity. So, hindi lang nila problema yung pagiging overweight or pagkakaroon ng obesity. Most of them also develop mood problems. So, they could have depression or anxiety. This is because of different metabolic complications like insulin resistance, inflammation, and sometimes hormonal imbalances. So all these could affect the brain functioning of a person and the mood regulation. So as the metabolic issues worsen, the risk and severity of depression and anxiety also tend to increase, which creates a vicious cycle. A higher BMI is also associated with prolonged duration of depressive and anxiety symptoms. So not only do they have the higher risk of developing these disorders, they tend to have more severe and prolonged symptoms. So mas matagal nila na i-experience yung mga mood problems. A meta-analysis study, so it combines data of different individual studies to make a more precise estimate, highlights that people with obesity are significantly more likely to report symptoms of depression rather than those without obesity. So there really is a strong association between excess weight and mood disturbance. What is the importance now of responsible storytelling? Weight stigma causes harm by biased or shaming content, thereby leading to what? Increased psychological distress, Some people may have problems already with their eating, and there could also be reduced access to healthcare for people living with obesity because they also experience discrimination in these institutions. Creators also shape the public perception. So social media heavily influence how people could understand health. You have a powerful role in shaping the minds. You can either reinforce the stereotypes or you could challenge them and educate the people. Empathetic messaging also fosters inclusion and trust. So using respectful, evidence-based language builds credibility, promotes body diversity, and supports healthier communities. Now the question is, are we telling health stories that help or harm? There is actually a research done specifically regarding social media for obesity education and overview for novice creators. So what were the challenges that they identified in this research? So there's a high prevalence of misinformation and weight bias in many existing obesity-related posts. Of course, there's risk of triggering shame or perpetuating the stereotypes if the language and imagery used in these posts are not carefully chosen. Creators play a critical role in shaping public perceptions of obesity. And so you must commit to responsible, compassionate education that empowers the people rather than alienates. Okay, so what are the do's and don'ts? You could share lived experiences and diverse journeys. You could highlight real stories showing that there are different paths. So it's not just a one-way solution, a one-size-fits-all for everyone. This would promote inclusivity and counters the myth of a single right way to be healthy. So you cannot just say, just eat less. So that doesn't apply for everyone. And then you acknowledge environmental, genetic, and socio-economic factors. Recognize that health is shaped by more than personal choices. It is also influenced by access to care, access to nutrition, biology, and systemic conditions. So this would foster empathy and reduce the stigma. Use health-focused, not weight-focused narratives. So emphasize behaviors that support overall holistic well-being rather than just the weight alone of the individual. This would encourage sustainable habits and body respect for all sizes. Again, avoid simplistic advice, just eat less or mag-exercise ka lang. Overly simple tips, ignore the complexity of eating, of health, of weight gain. So there should be compassionate and informed guidance. Avoid also using the before and after. So we see a lot of these in promotional tools, the before and after images to imply success, that getting thin is the only answer. So this would also reinforce harmful standards and suggest that self-worth is tied to our size. So focus instead on non-visible markers of health and personal growth. So not only the weight. And then avoid dramatic or fear-based messaging, like war on obesity, very intense yung mga ways. The scare tactics also could create shame and anxiety. So let's have a practice exercise. What would be the more respectful and accurate phrase? Is it option A, fat person, or B, person living with obesity?
Person living with obesity.
So it's good. Everyone knows that. Right? The correct answer would be person living with obesity. Why? Because this is a person-first language. So literally, it's person before the condition. we're saying that obesity is a complex medical issue, that they are not defined by the obesity. It's just one aspect of their identity. So why is the other option wrong? The fat person.
Parang shaming.
So it's obviously body shaming. Now, although there are some movements already that reclaim that being fat is also a form of being powerful. No? There are body liberation movements, but generally speaking, it's still unacceptable. So it's important to be inclusive. If you don't have the consent, you're not sure of the consent from the community, it's better to use the person first terminology to be safe. Okay, another one. How do we reframe this phrase? The phrase is, obese people need to take control of their weight. Do you agree with this statement?
Masyadong harsh yung obese kagad.
Okay.
People with obesity should be
Medyo
mindful of their health.
challenging, no? So here are some rephrases. So one is, people living with obesity can benefit from support in managing their overall health. Okay, so more holistic. So it's not just willpower, or it's not like a personal choice now. And then another one would be, supporting individuals with obesity and their health goals requires compassion and personalized care. So it would be the care that they would be receiving would be tailored to their needs as well. So the original phrase blames the individual. We put the blame squarely on the person and reduces them to their condition, thereby reinforcing the stigma. The other phrases, the reconstructed sentences, would emphasize compassion, person-first language, and the need for supportive and personalized care. So to emphasize, when it comes to responsible storytelling, important to use person-first, respectful language. This would help reduce the stigma and promote the dignity of the people. And then number 2, choose images carefully. So visual content can profoundly influence audience perceptions. They say that a picture could paint 1,000 words. So we have to curate the visuals that you would be using. In a way, you'd be able to challenge the different stereotypes and hopefully promote body diversity. And then acknowledge internalized weight stigma. Many people living with obesity experience internalized stigma. So when you say internalized stigma, this would be negative beliefs and shame directed towards the person, towards the individual, which have been absorbed from the society. So una, may mga sinasabi yung mga society, siguro they experience teasing, discrimination, and then in turn, they absorb that, and then they equate it already to self-worth. They think that they're inherently flawed based on what they've been hearing or what they've been experiencing. So this can harm their mental health and even discourage seeking care. So it's important to provide hope and agency. Empower your audience means focusing on what they can control, highlight the positive outcomes they can achieve, and not just on weight loss. Now, how can we create content that resonates and inspires? For sure, you're experts on this. You would know what would be the most effective tools in capturing the attention of people. So, why are short-form videos, reels, TikToks effective? Of course, because they're quick to consume, they're easily shareable with a lot of people now with short attention span. Also, it works effectively. So these videos can still deliver key messages in few seconds, making them ideal for capturing attention and at least start that conversation about how complex obesity is. Maybe you can use myth-busting, trivia in the videos, challenge the common misconceptions that obesity is just about willpower. this would promote critical thinking in the audience. Then you could feature some personal stories, real individuals sharing their health journeys, often overlooked in mainstream, and hopefully the audience would find them more relatable rather than just presenting all data. And then tips for health behaviors, not just weight loss. So do not promote weight loss alone. Offer actionable and supportive advice. So you could also talk about stress management techniques because we know that stress could worsen eating habits, affect also your weight, joyful movement ideas, nutrition tips. So those are the things that you could also discuss with your audience. So it would shift the focus from the appearance to the overall well-being of the person. Infographics are also vital because they could simplify complex information, but again, you have to curate, you have to be critical also of the information that you would be sharing. So if you're able to present informative, reliable resources, this would also increase your credibility towards the audience that your platform could be a go-to source for reliable information. So you could include social determinants of health that impact body weight. What are these social determinants? Like income, education, background, access to nutritious food, healthcare, and experiences of discrimination. So this would shift the narrative from blaming the individual to a more systemic understanding of the condition. And then you could show differences between weight and health markers. Now we know that BMI is a measure of obesity, but that is not the only measure of health. You could talk about blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, the mental health also, to illustrate a more complete picture. And then you could feature facts that dispel stigma. Again, share evidence-based data debunking myths. So this would reduce bias and foster respectful dialogue. Why use blog posts? Blog posts offer the space and flexibility to explore complex health topics in depth, allowing for nuanced storytelling and context-rich education that short form videos lack. So you could discuss health issues, challenges, misconceptions. It's important to build trust and credibility in your platform. What do you include in the blogs? Make sure they're evidence-based information. You can look at journals. You can look at researches to support your messages. And then you can also provide helpful links and references, so direct the readers to additional resources such as guidelines or tips from a credible source. And then do live sessions and Q&A, just like this event, since this would provide a real-time interaction. So it would allow the viewers to ask questions, hopefully share their own insights, and then it's a venue to challenge the misconceptions and directly address the concerns of the audience. So this kind of format will build authenticity and trust. It humanizes your message and creates a sense of connection, especially when you discuss sensitive or stigmatizing topics like obesity, mental health, or chronic illness. So how can you use live videos effectively? You could collaborate with health professionals, you could invite researchers, or you could interview lived experience advocates that would bring credibility and